the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old-style beers out at the game. Let's go, Cubby, Son Ranto.
Michael Cotton.
Son Ranto.
Michael Cotton.
Son Ranto and the lovable Lucy.
Muchos Golly.
Son Ranto.
Michael.
Son Ranto.
Cotton.
Son Ranto and the lovable Lucy.
Michael Cotton.
Son Ranto.
Muchos Golly. Son
Hey there. Welcome to the Son Ranto Show. Sorry we're getting started a couple minutes late tonight. My name's Danny Rocket, and that's Michael Cotton, who you just heard the voice of. Unfortunately, Infield Fly Girl is not with us this evening. She's feeling a little bit under the weather, so get well soon, IFG. We'll see you on the next show. This show is also brought to you by our 108 Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for helping keep the Son Ranto Show on the air. It's really your fault. That's all I can say. It's all your fault we do this.
I like that we have 108, right? Because that's how many stitches on a baseball. That's how many years it took the Cubs to win a World Series, all that stuff. 108's a fun number.
Yeah. It's how old I plan to live till.
Ooh, not me.
I mean, if you're in good health, why not?
I'm thinking 108 more months for me. I don't know how many years that is, but I'm done.
It's like 4 years. No, I have no idea. No, it's 10 years.
4 years.
It's less than 10 years. It's like 9 years and change. So, what are you drinking tonight? What do you got? What do you got in your grimy little paws?
Well, I'm back on a sauce. Actually, I just finished my hazy AF brew dog. That's a non-alcoholic.
Yeah, I got like 3 of those in the back of my fridge that I'm never going to touch. Come on over.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. I'll drink them when I come in town. But I'm switching to the hard stuff here. The juicy little thing hazy IPA from Sierra Nevada. Very, very good. I have to and I'm going to pour it into this ridiculous swing of the Quad Cities minor league baseball glass.
Oh, very nice.
Old school, dumb name for a team.
The swing. Swing
of the Quad Cities. Technically, you had to say the whole thing if you wanted to say it. Like it's the dumbest.
It's not the Quad City swing?
No, swing of the Quad Cities.
Let's see. Come on now. What are we doing?
Quad Cities has nothing to do with swing music. Nothing. Big Spiderbeck played the cornet, not a saxophone, which is where the S is. Like nothing makes any sense. He had a famous song called the Davenport Blues, which would have been a great name for the team. Davenport Blues. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Listen, I don't know who named
these. A little bit of a minor league Quad City history for y'all.
That's why you got to get on the Chamber of Commerce, start naming this crap. So I am once again drinking my yerba mate, pretending I'm an Argentino, and I'm drinking it out of my head of lettuce mug, who is one of my favorite drag queens. She is hilarious, like a insult comic, like Don Rickles. She works the whole room, like Don Rickles and Eric Wheelo, our Brewers fan friend who comes on the show to talk about the Brewers. Insult comic can work the room, pull people apart, make everybody laugh and feel loved at the same time. So anyway, that's what I'm drinking on. We got this in Puerto Vallarta and somehow got it back in a suitcase.
Clinton Nathan wants a link to buy the straw like you're using there.
Yeah. This is called a bombilla. And just look it up on Amazon, but make sure to use our Amazon search bar at sonranto.com/stuff. But yeah, BOMBILLA. So that's what I'm drinking. And I want to find out what our guest is drinking, but the way I'm going to introduce him is with a minute and a little over a minute of a song, a video that I took down at the United Center when he sang between the first and second periods in the intermission. He sang Little Elvis, and it was awesome. So I'm going to play that, and then we're going to bring on Miguel Esparza the Spanish language voice of the Cubs. Check this out, though.
We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. I love you, I love you, I love you. Why can't you see what you're doing to me? Maybe you don't believe a word I say. And don't you know we're caught in a trap? I can't walk out because I love you too much, baby. We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out because I love you too much,
Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has come into the building. It's Miguel Esparza. How you doing?
What's going on, guys? Doing great. Thank you so much for having me on again, and thanks again for bringing that beautiful memory to me, because it's one of those things that I never ever imagined doing, and just having the opportunity to do it was just amazing.
Well,
and nailing it when you got the chance too, by the way.
Thank you.
we got to get him to do it at Wrigley. We'd already decided that we're just going to hound dog them until they say yes, because and usually takes 3 years, for me to.
Right.
Me and Crawley just calling him every day. You guys, this would really be a great idea and everybody love it. I swear to God. And then finally it'll happen. So,
I feel like you need a little mini denim cape on the back of that jacket, though.
Oh, but you should.
Well, that jacket was actually inspired by Elvis's Aloha from Hawaii. So in the back you have that eagle, and so it's beautiful. It's one of those things that I was like, I didn't want to go jumpsuit. I do have the jumpsuit, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with this, and I love it.
Do you have the jumpsuit with the rhinestones all down the side and the arms?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's save that for Wrigley. I want to see
Yeah,
that.
so, when I used to perform at the casino, I had a jumpsuit all the time. So it was one of those things that, it was an actual Elvis tribute artist show that we used to do, and so it was full sideburns, long hair, everything. Yeah.
Nice. So what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking unsweetened iced tea.
Nice.
Pure Leaf needs to sponsor me, because this is all I drink.
Yeah, Pure Leaf, if you're listening, I know they tune in sometimes.
Yeah,
so we're both tea boys tonight.
I saw your temate. Yes, I love it.
Yeah, all winter long. I don't do it in the summer, but in the winter I like it.
It's one of those. It's an acquired taste. Temate is, because it's that bitter flavor, but it's good. I enjoy my temate once in a while.
Yeah, I throw some honey in it. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Sweeten it up. So I got to ask you. You and I went we went to pizza the other night over at Michael's.
It was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
Such good food over there. And we were talking, and you told me the story of kind of your first time on air, how you really manipulated your way, or took an opportunity that you saw. Well, why don't you just, if you wouldn't mind, tell the story of that, because I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I've always been a go-getter, and that was the beginning of it, specifically for radio. That was one of the things that I was, at that time I was 20 years old. Prior to that, I had no clue what I was going to do in my life. I knew one thing. I knew that I wasn't going to go to college. I knew that wasn't for me. I didn't want to go to college and learn some more English and some more science or whatever they give you there. I was like, I don't need that in my life, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So I went as an intern. I took a very small, it was 9 months, a little course for radio broadcasting. Really don't teach you much, it's the connection. So I got the connection to go on and get an internship with a radio station here in Chicago. And that was my favorite radio station. So I was like, that's the only one that I'm sending my resume to, because that's the only one I want to work at. And funny story. I sent it once, twice, no response. Third one, I even talked to the fax because I faxed it over. And I was like, okay, if you guys don't answer my fax this time, I'm going to the other station, which is where I work now. and but it was just funny, and I got a call the next day, and I actually started my internship in promotions. And then one day I just mustered up the energy, the courage to go up to my boss, to the boss of the program director at the time, and walk up to her office. That whole hallway, I was praying. I was like, man, I hope it goes well, because everyone said she was one of the tough ones, you know. So I'm walking, and I'm praying, and I walk into her office. I knock on the door. She's like, yeah. I was like, listen, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Miguel Esparza. And she was like, I know who you are. I've seen you work in promotions. I know what you do. I know who you are. So I said, well, good. I said, I just wanted to put it out there that I want to see if there's any way that I can go on air at some point, be in the programming department, whatever it may be, because that's where I want to go. And she was like, I'm looking for somebody to work overnights as a board operator. Are you interested? I said, yeah, absolutely. So I took that. I trained the next weekend, and I was on the weekend after that. And so I went on for a little bit. Then one day because I was doing the 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. One day, yeah. So one day the girls that used to cover the 6 a.m. to 12, they were twin sisters. They had that shift for a very long time. They called off.
Twin sisters on the radio.
Yeah,
makes me
yeah.
laugh. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, did they sound alike too?
Yeah. It's crazy. To this day, like, very good friends of mine. And but one day they called off, and so I was called to cover that 6 a.m. to 10 to 12 midday shift. And I was like, man, this is, thinking in my head, it's like, this is where people are out and about, and they're going grocery shopping and breakfast and whatnot. So my boss calls, and she calls me, and she was like, hey, how's everything going? I said, it's good. I said, is there a possibility that I could go on air and just give like a little weather update, the time, just because I sold it. I was like, it's Saturday morning. People are all out and about, She was like, well, I don't know what you sound like. I can't just put you on air.
Oh my God. Did she not listen to your, I'm hearing your voice right now, and I'm like, there's never been a better radio voice. It's perfect.
Yeah, well, thank you. But she says, I don't know. And I was like, well, I won't let you down. Let me try. And she said, okay, go ahead. I'll be listening. When she says I'll be listening, my knees start buckling, and I have to take a seat, because I was like, oh man, she's listening. And sure enough, I go on air, do the station name. I did the time, the weather. I turn off that microphone, and once again, my legs give out on me, and I have to sit down, and the hotline is flashing. So I'm like, oh man, she hated it. So it's her. It's on the phone. I'm like, hello? She's like, hey, listen, I love how you sound. Continue the rest of the shift on air. And that was it. Never stopped from there.
Wow. Okay. So it was the 6 to 12 shift.
Yeah.
Right? Were you coming off the 12 to 6 shift?
No.
Okay.
So I was covering that 6 to 12.
Lord.
No. I was covering that shift because the girls didn't call. They called off that day, so they called me in if I could do that 6 a.m. shift. Yeah.
I just thought maybe you were already in
No.
Hey, Miguel, why don't you just jump over and
no, it's happened. It's happened where you have to stay longer. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I've always said when you're at a radio station, 6-hour shift is too long. You have to have that 5-hour shift. Like, really, anything over 6 is just it kills your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just like you're just on. Yeah, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
Except for you could do it, because that when I showed that Elvis video that I just showed everybody earlier in that day, he had already called the Bears game. And then he called the first period of the Blackhawks game. Then he sang Elvis. Then he went back and did the last 2 periods of the Hawks game. So apparently, and you're like, no, 5 hours is too long. I get tired. I'm like, lies.
Well, it's doing one thing in the studio and with the Bears. And, it was one of those things. I get up that day I woke up super early because I get to Soldier Field at least 3 hours prior to kick off. Same deal with so what I did was after the Bears game, I flew out to the United Center. It was quick. It wasn't too long, and got there, did a run through with John and Jeff, and we played the set for a couple of times, and then I just went back up and prep and get ready for the game, and that was it.
Yeah.
Well,
you just
hockey
you just,
on the
just keep
radio.
rolling.
Yeah, hockey on the radio is just
Yeah.
speed.
Oh, yeah.
Speed talking, because there's so much going on, and to be able to get that through the airwaves is, I don't know. I know of all the sports, that's the one I would just be like, I'd rather not. I think it looks really hard.
It is. It's very hard, and it was kind of the same deal with when I was asked if I could do the Blackhawks. Miguel, do you know hockey? I said, yeah, 100%. I love it. And but I had never been to a Blackhawks game. I had never, I probably had watched a handful of games, which was during like the championship runs, and it was just because I was at a bar and people were watching it, and so it wasn't like I knew the sport. But Miguel, do you know how? Yes, absolutely. And I jumped on that opportunity as well. Now I'm the player I played. It's been, for the last 2 seasons.
That doesn't seem like something you'd be like, all right, hold on, let me just go home. I'll figure out how to call an entire.
Oh, I went
game.
on YouTube and I was like, hockey 101. Like I was finding every possible video you can find to just get a sense of everything that's within. And then obviously once I got there, I was a nervous wreck, but it worked out. It was good.
Yeah, just use it for your energy. Well, I got a question this is from our Ranters Patreon group.
Yeah.
And we got a few questions off of there, actually. This is from Seth Kennedy. Actually, I think he's got all the questions, to be honest, except for one. He says, what does an announcer's preseason look like, reviewing rosters, stats, vocal exercises, etc., and other advanced prep work go into getting ready? So what do you do to get ready for the season?
So for me, it's tough because I don't have a down season. I don't have so after baseball, I right into hockey and football, and same deal. So football just ended. I'm still doing hockey. So for me, it's a little bit harder because I can't dedicate my time 100% to it. But I'm already looking at just the once preseason starts, because I don't cover preseason, so that helps me out a lot, just because I get to see those games and I get to go through whoever's on the team as of now, and obviously with the list that came out the other day, I start looking at all that. I start prepping my score book, and so those are little things, and I think the way my brain works, my USB is full. I need like an extra slot. So I don't retain a lot of stuff that I don't want to have in my brain, kind of deal. It's like I make sure that things that I need, they have to be fresh in my brain. I don't have the luxury of having somebody sitting by me and giving me all kinds of different stats. We do that ourselves. I was watching the other day, the Kansas City Chiefs posted a video of their announcer going nuts, and as he's broadcasting, he's getting fed papers left and right, like say this, do this. We don't have that luxury in Spanish broadcasting. We do it ourselves. So we have to dig in deeper, and so our preparation is a little bit more in depth and finding everything that we can use. So that's why, once again, like when I get to the stadiums, I do 2 to 3 hours prior to each game, just so that I can have that fresh in my mind and have all the information that I need, that I know that I need during my broadcast.
So it's all short-term memory for you. Just like, okay, who's up today? Okay, here's what we got. Yeah. That's all I need, and I'm going to forget it on the way home. Right.
Yeah. So on the way home, what I do is I listen to my broadcast, because I want to know what did I do good? What did I do wrong? And so I listen to that on my way home, just because I want to get better every day. I think that's how we should be. And that's one of the things that I do in that sense. I'm always air checking myself to make sure that if there's anything that I can do better, I do.
Danny, I think that was a little shade, in that maybe we need to listen to this
to our own show,
once or twice after we do it, because we may.
I have accidentally listened to our show, and it's only because I download it to make sure it downloads in my podcast feeds, and then like I'll go to bed and I'll be sleeping, and then I'll be listening to like some boring history podcast to go to sleep, and then I'll wake up and like Michael's screaming in my ear about the DH at like 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, no, God, I'm like, this show is terrible. It's only
No, but you know, it's very important. I'll tell you this, and I've taught before, and I've mentored a lot of people within radio, and one of the things that I always tell them is you have to listen to yourself. We are our biggest critics. You know, we are the ones that are going to say, okay, I don't like how I sound here. I don't like how this came out, or whatever it may be. That just it's going to help. And I hated it because when I was doing a morning show. I did many morning shows throughout my career, but one specifically, I had a program director that after each show every morning, we'd walk over to his office and listen to our whole show. And that, yeah, it was, I used to hate it, but it only made me better. And I realized this after a while, because at first I was like, man, you know, it's like, this sucks. You know, I suck. I was like, oh man, I sound horrible, but it helped me to be better, you know?
Yeah, I tell you, I was the opposite because I had a bandmate that used to do that with our shows. He had a little recorder, and we'd go up there and we'd rock out, and we'd have a great show, and we'd be like, yeah, we rocked. We were so good. We'd get in the van. It's 2 a.m. We just packed up, and he'd put our show on it. We all be like, boo. It's like the last thing we want to hear right now. It's like, so we got a couple comments here in the chat.
I got one more. Give me 1 second. I have one more based on that other same question. Any vocal exercises? So one of the things that I always do, I always wear a scarf. I always have a scarf. That's just part of it. Protecting our throats. I'm always drinking, whether it be my iced tea. I add but hot tea. So there's this tea called Throat Coat. It's very good. Put some lemon in there and some honey, and you're all good. And I always carry little packages of honey in my pocket. So you'll see me pop out a packet of honey and just throw that in, and then I'm good.
Yeah. Do you ever do the gargle with salt water thing? You ever hear
I
about
don't.
that one?
Never done that. No,
it's not
never
pleasant, but it kind of can get things going, like a saline kind of situation. Neti pots is another thing.
Right.
A lot of Broadway singers use personal steamers, if you've ever seen those.
Really?
Yeah, you just stick your face down to this thing, breathe in the steam, opens up your airways and everything, gets everything out of there. Yeah, it's good. So I've got a couple comments. I wanted to put this one up again from Jesus Mauricio. Says Chicago runs on Miguel. And it's true because you do all the teams. Like you're the only announcer that I could say does that. There might be some people that do commentary or pregame, postgame on multiple Chicago teams, but you actually do all the play-by-play. And I also this one from Blake. Awesome to hear your story of being persistent and taking advantage of big opportunities. I totally agree with.
Thank you. Thank you.
That. So, I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot, but Captain Cubbo, Roberto Ramos, he does want to put you on the spot. He says, "Can we hear a play-by-play of a hockey goal, please?"
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't like soccer. I will only watch soccer when it's the World Cup. And a lot of people, oh, you're Mexican, you must love soccer, and you're gonna call hockey goals like Andres Cantor, who calls the goals for soccer.
Right,
yeah, I don't do that. So that might be disappointing to some. I don't do it because I don't want to fall into that stereotype. And so my call is, so I'm and it's hard to do just talking here because right. But my call is ese se llama gol. Like, that's a goal, but I'll do it within, like, ese se llama gol, and so, but I will not scream goal. I can. I've broadcast soccer before, but it's not my favorite. I don't enjoy it.
Len Casper was like that about his home run calls. I know he was like, I never want to have like the one call. I want to call it how I see it in that moment. They're always good. I'll have a few go-tos that you do.
Right.
But you're not going to, but it's not all home runs are created equal. Not all goals are created equal. So if you did a big goal, it would be because something really big happened. You're like, I'm screaming this one,
What I'll say when it's like one of those like great goals, it's que golazo, because it's like so good and you have to enjoy it, right?
What does golazo mean?
Golazo, like golazo, like it's like not golazo, like golazo.
Like a giant goal. It's like a
modifier.
Like
a beauty. It's a beauty of a goal.
So I did want to play this is your Hayward walk off, which I found on YouTube, and this is a great this is a great call here.
Viene el lanzamiento. La eleva Jason Hayward hacia el derecho. Damas y caballeros, los Cubs ganan el partido. Home run, Jason Hayward. ¡Yeah! ¡Wow! Cuadrangular monstruoso, sin duda. Jason Hayward, la bombó.
Could you add anything else? Damn.
Oh, that's so much fun, though. Oh,
Yeah,
love it.
You're obviously a Cubs fan. That's
I
what comes. That's what comes through. That's why the Chicago fans love you. That's why I'm so excited because my Spanish is intermediate level, I would say. So I got good enough so I could listen to you because I couldn't
Thank you.
before because it's not. It was so now I about half you, half Pat. In the summertime, and then it's been great for my comprehension. But you are such an excited announcer. You and Jorge together, and also Noah when he's on too. And who else do you do it with? I don't want to leave somebody
Elio.
out. Elio, of course,
Yeah,
Elio.
yeah.
And so no, it's a great broadcast. You guys have
Thank
a
you.
lot of fun on the broadcast as
We
well.
do. I always try to make sure that we're having fun. And even when the game is not going so well, I try. I'm a joker. I always try to have fun. That's just my thing.
And where did you get the idea to just start because now there's a few that you have the one of you and Morel, and you took those videos yourself with your phone, right?
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
it's your phone, and you're like, you know what? I think was the idea that I think something cool is going to happen. I'm just going to press record. This could be a big moment, and I want to save this. Maybe people will like it. Is that? I mean,
Yeah, that was it. It was one of those things where I was like, my social media presence sucks. Like my numbers are garbage, and it's like it's one of those things that I've always been told, Miguel, you got to get better at, but I just suck at it. It's the consistency of me sitting there and posting stuff is just bad. So I always tried. So I got better at it. Last year, I would try to at least post a picture because it's so beautiful. My view is just beautiful to get up there and just take a picture of Wrigley and just, see the beauty of it. So I really got consistent with that, posting a picture. And then when it came to videos, it was one of those things. I just needed to grow my presence more and more. And it was that Javi Baez, Amir Garrett game. And it was, yeah. So it was a long.
Which one? There's so many of them.
It was the rowing the
Row
boat.
the boat. I love it.
So it was leading up to that moment. That game just looked like it was never going to end. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start recording each and one of these opportunities because you never know what's going to happen. And I had already tried out that double camera where I can use both of my cameras front and back. But I had never, posted anything. I posted something maybe a couple of months prior to that from the Blackhawks game, but it never picked up. It was nothing. It was whatever, But with that Javi Baez, it happened, and I was like, oh man! And even the shot that I had on it, it was too far out. I got it better throughout the season, but I posted that right away as soon as the game was done. I cut out whatever I needed. I posted it. My phone started blowing up. Like it would not stop. It was just one of those things that was nonstop all night long, all morning long. And I was like, wow, like people really liked it, So it was cool. And then what I started doing the rest of the year was any opportunity of that kind, any walk-off opportunity, which we had quite a few of. I recorded them, and I posted them on Twitter.
well, and then I know you became pretty good friends with Christopher Morel this year. Who, because you had his first at bat in the major leagues. It wasn't a walk-off. The Cubs did win the game, but he had a home run in his first at bat, a huge, exciting moment for him and for you too, because you did a great job. And here you guys are. I'm throwing up a picture for the podcast listeners of Miguel and also Christopher Morel over at Club 400, Stuart McVicker's award-winning Cubs fan cave. And we had you had an interview with Christopher out there, but and also have done some work with the Cubs and him on that moment that, you know, I think there was a breakdown done of it.
Yeah, there's a breakdown on it. They used my voice on it, which was cool to hear my broadcast being a part of that breakdown, because it was big for him and it was big for me. You know, it's one of those things that I will always remember. I don't remember many things. I told you at the beginning, but those are moments that I do treasure because they were so special for him and for me. You know, it was just one of those, just being part of that call and the excitement and you hear on that breakdown, you hear Pat's call, you hear Boog, you hear Ron Coomer, who says, well, this should be a home run the way the night's going. And you know, so it was one of those things, just to be part of that in general. It was just thinking about this, how I see it. Like my voice next to Pat Hughes, you know, like, when did I ever think that would happen? You know, I never did.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And they gave you, also amazing is the jersey. Was this given to you, or did you buy this?
No, that was given to me by the Cubs when I sang the national anthem last year.
Very cool. For the podcast listeners, he's got the Wrigley, the Wrigleyville jersey with the Friday jerseys with the La Boto and 4 O's at the end of it. Number 7. What's the 7 for?
My birthday, May 7th.
May 7th. Same as my father's.
There you go.
Yeah. We got you in the calendar this year. In fact,
I love it.
I just put yours in the mail today, Miguel.
Thank you.
Yeah, you get one. We got you here. I'll show it to you. I'll get to May right about now. I got the picture. I'll put it as close as I can to the camera here. It's I don't know if you can see that. Am I on? It's the picture of you.
Yeah.
It's a picture of you on the video board, just like screaming Elvis. So
I think you need to move it up a little bit there.
Oh,
Danny,
move it up like there.
I see it. I see it.
Yeah, I can't see it. So cool.
Yeah, I see that one. Then I see another one with Morel, right?
Yeah, I saw the one with Morel as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then because that's what his birthday isn't in May, but that game was in May.
Yeah, May 17th.
So that's all throughout the calendar. I kind of try to keep it month in month, you know.
Yeah.
Thing. But so I got another question from the Ranters page, and this comes from Jacob. And he asked it in Spanish because over on our Patreon page, we actually have a Los Ranteros. We're just trying to talk about the Cubs in Spanish so we can all practice our mediocre Spanish.
Yeah. I love it.
So Jacob says, los 5 cachorros hispanos más populares de todos los tiempos, en su opinión. So what that means is the top 5 Hispanic Cubs of all time.
Sammy, number 1. I would go with.
Give it to us in the chat too. Tell us yours.
Aramis Ramirez. I would say he's very popular.
For sure.
Alfonso Soriano.
Yeah.
We were just talking about him recently on the show here. You go back and look at his numbers, and you're like, man, he was even better than we remember. Like,
one of the better leadoff hitters that the Cubs have ever had. And we have had terrible leadoff hitters, so we never have them. And for once, those few times we have them, we're good. Like with Soriano, 2007 and 8, we were good. And then with Dexter Fowler, 15 to 60, we're good. Ever since then, it's I don't know how we start a game.
I'm with Clint, Nathan Zambrano, Carlos Zambrano for sure, and. I'm a little bit biased. I'm going to say Morel just because he's won the hearts of these Cubs fans in the last year, like no other. Like the love that man has received, it's been one of those things that it's great to watch up close, and obviously you want to see what the future holds for him. You know, that's and then honorable mention to Moises Alou. He tried and it didn't happen, and
did somebody say
he was
Javi?
Never going to catch it. Javi, I'm not a Javi fan at all.
Oh no! What?
Only Facebook users, the only one that says Javi.
Yeah,
Marmol.
Javi.
Bernie likes Marmol.
Carlos Marmol, yeah, for sure.
We got
Giovanni Soto. There's so many good ones. But look, okay, Javi is okay. So
it's fine.
No, like.
He's
I
not on the
feel
Cubs
that
anymore.
when you get to a certain level of fame, it gets to you to a certain point where you shouldn't let it get to you. You know, I feel like he got so like full of it that he really didn't like, for example, and this is close up and personal with, I didn't have the opportunity to really cover Javi, but I did have a couple of coworkers who did. And he would never want to talk to Spanish media at all, like ever.
Nah.
He and then when I started coming in, I would start going into the clubhouse. I would never see Javi at all, never see Javi. So it was one of those things that it's like, dude, like there's a lot of people out there that want to hear from you in your language. They want to hear, they want to know what Javi has to tell, you know, the Latino community, but we never had that from Javi. He was doing the big interviews like nationally or whatever, but nothing for the Chicago media. And so, you know, it just tells you like when you think you're just too much for the small people. I don't know. That's why, you know, one of those things. And each one is each to their own. You know, I'll tell you one of the, and he's not a Cubs player, but Sandy Alomar. There was a time where I was covering the White Sox, and that man right there, he was like, so for me, for us Latinos going into back in the day, or even now, like going into the clubhouse or even into the games or whatnot to cover, like we're not together with the other media or regular because you know they have their own little groups and whatnot, and I've tried to break that, you know, and I tried to go and create these relationships. Before it never happened. So Sandy saw me just standing around in one corner because I didn't know who to talk to or whatnot. And he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, you know, who do you represent?" I said, "Oh, I'm here with this station, da da da." He's like, and I was like, "Would you like? Can I interview?" "Oh yeah, come on." And he took me to the dressing room. We sat there. He's like, "Look, let's chat here." And he was, every time he'd see me, you know, he was always very welcoming. And obviously, you know, those were the little things in him. And even Bartolo Colon at the time was with the White Sox, so he was very good to me as well. So you always gravitate to the people that actually pay attention to the Latino media, because at the end of the day, we're trying to just put them out there for the Latino community in general, you know?
Yeah, which and that's
sure.
many countries. That's countries.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, dude, why wouldn't you want that? And Roberto Ramos
Wow.
and Bernie Barron says, did we forget Wilson Contreras already? And first of all, he's a Cardinal now. So
Yeah.
like, you know, like, yeah, I did. He's over. Who? Yeah. No, that's all I want to see. We're going to stand up and give him a big round of applause.
And I appreciate him. I appreciate him for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much,
that's
Wilson.
it.
And now you're crowding the plate and you're going to take one of the ribs. Like that's how it's going to be, you know. And it's
but you know, and he, you know, he was one of those the same way. I'll tell you with Wilson, a couple of years ago, the same deal. Like he was one of those that didn't want to talk to Spanish media. Last couple of years, he changed. Like he was open to talking to us. He had no problem. He was very nice to us, you know. So that, you know, he was. I say he matured. And I don't think Javi ever did.
That is interesting that you say that, because I guess in my mind, I would probably gravitate towards somebody that I could speak with in my, you know, my native language, just because I feel like that might be easier. You know what I mean? Like it's weird that you said you had that situation with a couple of different people. Do you think that's just some sort of a thing out there that maybe they're brought up sort of like focus on the English stuff and go that way? Or you think it's more just those guys specifically?
I think it's more of I think in Spanish we say se le subió. Like it's like it got to them, you know, that fame got to them, and they feel that they don't need the Latino market, you know, that they don't need to have that kind of exposure. They want to be on NBC, on WGN, whatever it may be.
ESPN, the biggest station.
Yeah, for sure.
They want to get talked to by Bob Costas and not by Miguel Esparza. That, you know, like Spanish radio. Like how many?
Bob.
Yeah, how many watts are you putting out there, Miguel, on your station?
Right.
But what is the name of the station? Could you at least plug that?
So our station is TUDN, TUDN. and we're on 1200 AM.
12.
So, but and it's an AM station, you know. So
Well, I
but the
listen to.
big thing that we have, the big thing that we do have is that you can listen to our broadcast on the MLB app, and you can listen to our broadcast on Marquee Sports Network on the SAP option. So that's for us, that was huge. It really was, just to be on there, because, and this is the funny part, like Univision in itself, they've been broadcasting these Cubs games for well over 10 years, but it was never like, we were never showcased like we are being now. Like the attention that we are getting now from the organization itself, from the fans, obviously, it's been amazing. But it's all been and because I've been persistent with, let's create these relationships, let's get our names out there, and just be able to be out and be seen and be heard. And so it's been a tough process, just because when we started, we were broadcasting from all the way up top of the last row of the press box, and I couldn't see. I felt like these bobbleheads behind me. I was like trying to see what was going on, you know. and so when I was told,
you're like Gordon Whitmire just ate another sandwich,
right? Oh yeah, trust me. Oh, I was watching these people eat. I tell you, I would take pictures of them.
Carry muskets with the cheese fries.
There was one guy, I'm not going to say his name, but
You can guess it,
this
though.
man he downed at least 2 double cheeseburgers in a couple of innings, man. I was like, damn, he was sitting right in front of me. And there was another guy, and I'm not going to say his name either. I'll tell you guys after. But this guy was watching porn, and yeah, because he was sitting on the last row of the press box, but he didn't know we were up there.
Oh wow, God,
that's
But
yeah. At work, I don't know if you're supposed to be doing that kind of thing, but
yeah, we were like,
No, you're
whoa, what's this guy doing? Covering the game or what?
well, that segues me into the final question. I have
wait, hold on. That segued you into something.
It does.
Miguel, you might want to go.
No, check it out. He goes, this is a question for Miguel. If someone, I think this is, I believe, I forget who asked this question. Sorry, I don't have the name on it. That's a question for Miguel. If someone makes a 69 joke and I want to say nice, what's the right word to use? Because if we're talking in baseball in Spanish, there will be a stat with a 69 in it. I want to respond appropriately. So you know that joke, like somebody says 69, you say nice. Would you say like we had to it was Seth asked this. Would you say like simpático or agradable or like, you know, and does that happen in the Spanish world? Did they go
no, it doesn't.
and they're like agradable?
Yeah, no. Like, and it's funny because like the words that you just used, we don't use them. Simpático, like agradable, like
chévere. How about chévere? Would they do chévere?
Chévere, like no. You'll hear that on novelas, you know.
Hey, chévere, yeah.
Yeah. No, but
Mono.
I don't know. I don't think there's a word you would use.
Is there like a, you know, like a, I don't know, like a giggity, you know,
giggity.
That's kind of what it is. Nice. Like, is there like a word that does that?
There's a word that you can use for everything, and you've probably seen the video memes. Órale, like órale can mean so many things. Like órale, let's go. Like it, like you could make it sound like anything and everything you need. Like órale, let's go. Órale, like wow. Yeah. So, I think that could be.
Every language has like their version of Smurf. Like if you remember the old Smurfs, they're like, let's Smurf over here. Or like, this is really Smurfy. You know, it's like I don't know if you watch the Smurfs. I'm just aging myself. I know. I know
the Smurfs, but I didn't watch them. No,
well, that's how they were though. They let's Smurf over here. That's Smurf-tastic, and you know you can do Smurf in all these ways. You know, it's like how New Yorkers use the word fuck. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, it's
how do they use it?
Adjective, verb,
in any way possible.
Yeah. Oh, this fuck over here is like, oh man, I love that fucking guy. You know, it's just like
okay.
You know. But no, it's the same thing. It just can have many usages. So Anyway, thanks for coming on, man. I really
Thank you.
appreciate your insight
Thank you both.
on the broadcasting business, especially in the
I didn't say
Spanish
much, actually.
language. Yeah, right. So
Well,
no, and well,
before you get like, I was gonna say, and we kind of got off topic there for a minute, but you were talking about how there's the Spanish language call for the Cubs has gotten so much bigger over these years. And I
Yeah.
mean, that really is because of you, like you putting your stuff out there on Twitter and getting out on YouTube and that sort of thing started drawing people in. It really has been a change because we've been doing this show for a long, long time. Danny's been on here 11 years. I've got like 9 years now.
Yep.
And the Spanish language call of the Cubs really wasn't a thing we were aware of.
You guys didn't know it existed, right? Neither did I.
Right.
Well, and thank you for that, because it was when I was told in 2021 that I was going to broadcast all the games. One of the first things that I did was I sent an email about that booth where I was up there, and that was the first thing I did. I was like, listen, like, this is a slap in the face for me as a broadcaster. Can we get? And it took a lot of emails. It took me sending a picture of the booth that was available, and it happened. So it's one of those things. Just going out there and letting them know this is what I want, this is what I need, and not in a diva type of way, just in a way that it made sense. That booth was there by itself at all times, and we have our broadcast. And then little by little, there was another instance where at the beginning of each broadcast, Boog says the Spanish language broadcast, you could listen on SAP, and he said Miguel Esparza for when he introduced me. So I sent an email. I was like, hey, can we send out a pronunciation, because that's not my name,
Right.
Next game comes on, he says it Esparza again. So what I did was I tell my guys, I was like, hey, let me know if you guys see Boog walking towards the press box or something, so I could go catch him. And so they did, and I saw him. So I go and I introduced myself. I said, hey, Boog, how you doing? My name's Miguel Esparza. And I said it loud and clear. And I'm the Spanish, broadcaster. And he was like, oh, nice to meet you. Then JD came, and I introduced myself to him. I said, hi, I'm Miguel Esparza. And sure enough, that game, he said Miguel Esparza. So, it was just a matter of going out there and just making sure little things like that. And I went to the guys, and they're like, what do you say? I said, look, I told them, don't you ever mess up my name again, because then we're going to have problems. Which I didn't tell them that,
I put him up against the wall.
Yeah,
and I said,
yeah.
listen, buddy. You're like, orale.
Right. Órale, vato.
So
Yeah, so it's been one of those things, just the little things, getting once again the broadcasts out there, getting more involved with the Cubs and what they're doing. Like today, I did a voiceover for a commercial they're going to air. I don't know where they're airing it, but they have the English version, and now they have the Spanish version, and it's my voice on that commercial. So
beautiful.
Little things like that weren't happening before. And
Right.
So it's very good to see that we're growing little by little. It's taken a lot of time to do, but we're seeing that progress.
Yeah. Well, and I know that there's other teams, like the Dodgers have a team that travels with the
Yep.
team, and they give them a lot more resources. And hopefully the Cubs will be that way too. Once they see that that they have such a talent with you that they should be using to
Hopefully.
to promote their own product. I mean, it's not rocket science here. Miguel's real good. Hire him for everything,
Thank you.
So, well, thank you so much. I think before we're going to go to a commercial, but we're leading us into the commercial. I am going to play one more little clip from your Elvis. But we just want to thank you.
Thank you.
We'll play the Elvis and then we'll play the commercial. But thank you so much, Miguel, for coming on the show, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
And
Follow me, Twitter, Miguel's
Yeah.
Voice.
Yeah,
Yes,
Miguel's Voice on Twitter is where you find him. And and tell everybody, tell the world
Yeah.
that we want, and tell the Cubs that we want Miguel singing Elvis at Wrigley Field. This could be a critical mass kind of thing that we can get going. I swear to God, we'll get it to happen, even if it takes 3 years. We'll get it to happen.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks for coming on,
guys.
Miguel. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Love talking to you.
Thank
Nice
you.
seeing you again.
Same here. Thank you.
should find some room for a broken hearted lover. It's true. Crying at the lonely, so lonely, they'll be so lonely tonight. Hey, boy.
It's the time in the Son Ranto Show where you can show your love for wasting another perfect night just talking about the Cubs. And if you thought that we were entertaining, smart and funny, then scan these QR codes right now and give us all your money. Because here in the USA, we won't do shit unless we get paid. Won't you support Son Ranto today? Please scan the codes for Son Ranto. Give all your dough to Son Ranto. Well, it looks like I'm going to be stuck on this show by myself for a while because Michael Cotton timed that completely wrong and did not leave during the during Miguel. You missed it. I knew you were going to be late. I'm like, there's no way you're going to make it back, Michael Cotton.
Oh man, is that a new commercial? Is it short?
Yeah, you've seen it before. Oh no, you probably haven't seen it because you go and take a leak and see. But I have to say that we have these QR codes. If you give Venmo us or PayPal us for all our hard work and getting awesome people like Miguel on, I will if whatever money comes in right now, I will give to IFG to help make her feel better and give the other half to Miguel for him coming on the show. So and I'll just surprise him with Venmos. So
he's such a good guest. Like he's got great stories. He's fun to talk to. I got to meet him in person this last summer over at Stu's, like Wrigleyville, Cub Cave.
Oh yeah. Well, and then we sang Elvis on the Rooftop together. I guess that was a different party, but that was also at Stu's party.
But yeah, he's just such a nice guy, and really, I wasn't kidding. Like, we've been doing this a long time, Danny, and the whole Spanish language Cubs thing, that's Miguel. I mean, it really is Miguel. Like,
he's made
he should be on that wall of fame down there in left field as, this, like, the Spanish voice of the Chicago Cubs, should be like, Ernie was Mr. Cub. He's Mr. Spanish language of the Cubs.
He's creating that right now, and yeah, it's great to see, and I'm so glad that the Cubs are involving him. And that's one thing that you can say for the Marquee Network is that they are putting him out there in ways that Univision never did. And if the Cubs are on board, then I'm going to applaud them where they're doing the right thing, because maybe they'll do more of it. So so we have got a new little segment on this show. It's called Jet Set. That's right. It's time for Shit Jed Said. Do you want to see that one again? Shit Jed Just what did Jed say, Michael? This
So,
was last week. This is a little old news, but we didn't really get a chance to talk about it. So, but thought we'd go through a couple of things that Jed said.
Yeah, Jed. So Jed was on the show, a New York Post baseball podcast or whatever, with like Joel somebody and John Heyman. I don't know. I will say it's the only time I'll listen to that show. But Jed went on there. Yeah, we didn't get a chance. Other people have talked about it, but my guess is they aren't going to say what we're about to say.
Well, say what you're going to say. What did Jed say, though?
Well, first off, Jed says holes way too much. He says holes so often. It's like a 13-minute conversation. I think he says holes about 187 times.
It's
It's
like
just
David Ross and accountability.
Yeah, just constantly mentioning holes. And
the Cubs have a lot of holes.
Yeah, there's holes here, holes in the lineup, holes in the
accountability.
After a while, you're like, stop with the holes. I'm starting to feel weird.
The accountability.
So that was the first thing I had to mention about this thing. But then, I broke down a few other things. Like, so at one point he mentions, he gets the question about why they weren't a dynasty, right? After 2016 and all the talent they had and all this stuff. And he goes through talking about like 2017, he's like 2018, we were tied for the best record in the league, and the Brewers caught us. And I don't even know if that's true. Was it the best record in the league in 2018 or just the division?
95 wins, I believe, was what.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was the best in the league or
just
the division. I know it was a division, but the Brewers caught them. But here's what really fucking got to me. And you're going to understand why here in just a second. He said they lost 2 one-game playoffs. Let me explain.
Well, they lost the tiebreaker for the season.
First off, the fucking wild card game is not the playoffs, people. It never was. It never will be. Now there's a playoff series that is the playoffs because the fucking I don't even know why they called it the wild card. That's not what it is. The fucking wild card game was never the playoffs. It was a play-in game.
It was the postseason. That's when they started calling it postseason.
Yes, it was the postseason. But I'm glad you brought that up because the tiebreaker game, that's not even postseason. That's part of the fucking regular season. The season doesn't end until you have a division winner. They had to play 163 games that year. They don't call it the first game of the fucking playoffs. They call it the 163rd game. It is still part of the season. It's not the postseason, not the playoffs. So Jed, wake the fuck up. Figure out what he doesn't even know what the playoffs are. And we're expecting this guy to get the Cubs to the playoffs. He doesn't even know what it is.
And that's kind of like the whole idea about him saying that, here's all the things that happened. Well, we missed it by 1 game. And it means you didn't have enough. It means that's when the offense broke. Okay, so you did it wrong. And then he's got another excuse. And then we got all injured. And then everybody was sad because Rizzo didn't get re-signed. And then and then I'm like, great. So you're telling us all the reasons that you and your team, because it's not like he came in later. It wasn't like Theo and then they hired Jed. He was there the whole time. So he's part of what went wrong, but he gets to keep his job because he's just like anointed like the next guy up, like in the corporate ladder. It's just like, wait, is this, you were there doing all the things that screwed up the thing. You fell too in love with the guys like Theo and you did that. And now you're doing it again. So like you're saying, oh, Rizzo was sad. That was part of this thing. He said, well, Rizzo was obviously pissed off at us. And then they felt insulted by the deal he was given. You're doing the same thing with like Ian Happ right now. And you did the same thing last year with Wilson. And you held this over their head. And either you didn't want him back and you didn't tell him. Of course, you're not going to tell him. But still, you couldn't trade him in the offseason. Like you still held on to everybody. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah. No,
all the things you screwed up before, you are seemingly still screwing up, and then in like 4 more years, be like, "Well, here's what happened," and you see, you know,
and they
things
asked
didn't
him
work
about
out.
not signing the core, and he blamed the players for being successful. He said after 2016, they were, they were on a high. They were, and they weren't up for doing it right then. Now we know that's not true. That's not exactly what happened, but
Well, I might a little bit,
but that's how he's spinning it now. Like, I
Yeah.
don't doubt that they were a little high there, but he's fucking blaming them for being successful, and like, just because they won us a World Series, they acted like we should pay them, like, no, yeah, that's exactly what you're supposed to fucking do. And then he sort of offhandedly mentioned Bryant had a grievance. Yeah, because you
because
fucked
of you.
him
Yeah.
for an entire year. You fucked him. You were part of that front office that did that to Bryant. That wasn't a grievance. That was the real thing. You did that to him, and then he talked about how, like, we were close to signing with Javi and then COVID. Well, you know what? Javi was still with the team after they were playing baseball. He didn't, COVID didn't stop them from talking to him again.
Yeah.
Like,
he couldn't understand. He couldn't understand him through the masks. That was the problem. They were all wearing masks. They're like, I don't get what you're saying. Is I'm trying to negotiate a contract with you, and I can't hear you. I read lips. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the whole spring training was the wrong time to talk to Rizzo about extension. When do they talk to these guys about extension, Danny?
Never. They don't.
At this point, I don't have any idea when contracts get spoken about, because you don't talk about them during the season. Directly after the season, they don't talk about them because they are working on like trades and shit and figuring out what's going to happen. And then they don't talk to them like between January and March, because I don't know why. And then it's spring training. But now they're not supposed to talk to them about spring training. So when are they supposed to talk to them? I don't understand what this whole, like, how are you ever supposed to get re-signed with the Cubs when there's like a window of like 4 days between Christmas and New Year's Day that you're allowed to talk about a contract?
Yeah, Clint says Hoyer don't extend nobody, and I think that might be it. I mean, it just does seem like that's the way they kind of want it, and they're just going to spin it however they want, and we're just going to have to be like, that was stupid. They should have done it differently, and it's all 2020 hindsight, because now a lot of people are like, well, look, Bryant sucks now, and look, like, the only one that's good is Rizzo, and Javi had a bad year, and like, I don't know.
Oh, and that's bullshit, people. Hey, everybody who thinks Javi had a bad year last year, Javi had a bad first half of the year. He was injured. He got off slow. He wasn't good. But in the second half, he was good. He was better than the guy we love, Nico Horner. Okay, he had a better second half than Nico Horner. It's just that his first half was so bad, and then he, and with the injury and then sitting time out, he couldn't overcome it on the overall numbers. But if you break that out, he was good in the second half, and I think he's probably going to have a good next year too.
Adjustments, new team, new division. You're just going to have to adjust. Maybe you're going to start out slow. Maybe you're going to press a little too hard. I mean,
Comerica Park,
giant
compared to Wrigley.
Yeah, which is probably good, I would say. I mean, maybe not the home runs, but maybe you could, if you got to hit a little bit differently. But we all know that he only wants to hit home runs. Right. David Elliott says, "See, you need to hit a walk-off grand slam. That's the only way you get extension talks. And I might add, run around the bases like an airplane. Very important part of that. Then they're like, you, sir, are a showman. Get up here and sign a 5-year extension, and then we're going to send you to the minors."
Yeah. So building off that whole, he doesn't extend anybody. He talked about Bellinger. This is what he said. Bellinger wanted a 1-year deal, and that made Jed happy because he didn't want to think about a multi-year deal.
Yeah. Because in other words, yeah.
He was like, I was so happy to hear that he wanted 1 year because Daddy Ricketts would say okay to a 1 year deal. Like he doesn't want to have that conversation where like, well, he's going to need 2 years,
Well,
or 3 years.
also, I think he's pretty high on the guys coming up in the minors behind, like Keith Law. I was going to put this in the notes, but I didn't. But maybe we could talk about it on the post show on the Discord. But we got quite a few like young studs like coming on through, and in a few years, our outfield is hopefully full of them. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
he did talk a little bit about PCA.
Yeah, he's excited.
And center field, he is excited. But I loved what he said. Like center field is the hardest place to like the hardest. Well, this is what he said. The hardest hole to fill, right? Because he fucking said hole 8 million times.
Hole.
And I thought that was funny because they put every fucking player that they can in center field. Like it feels to me like center field might be the easiest. Like if you were watching the Cubs, you would be right to think anybody can play center field because they'll put fucking Morel out there. They'll put Hap out there. They'll put Nico out there. They don't fucking care. They'll put anybody in center field. But then he says it's the hardest spot to fill. And it's just like, then what have you been doing for the last fucking like 8-9 years? It's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, you just put your best outfielder out there because you got to be fast and you got to know the routes.
But they haven't been doing that. They've been putting their fucking second baseman out there.
And the problem with like filling that spot too, and what really sinks the team is that's the general of the outfield. So if you got a different person out there and you're like, wait, do you run that way? And then I go this way. And if it's slicing, do you take the front and I take the back? Like that's how you're going to end up with like situations where these guys are like flying into each other because they're not used to playing together. Because you've got a different. Yeah. Well,
Kyle Schwarber, 2016. That's exactly what happened. He was not used to playing left field that much. And Dexter fucking decked him.
Yeah. Clint says Fowler was our last great center fielder, and Mike Waller says they put everyone out there because they had nobody. Exactly,
and that could definitely be true. Okay, I'm gonna end on this shit that Jed said.
Yeah, and then I'll play the drop again.
He literally fucking said the Cardinals needed a catcher, and they filled that hole. Like, what the fuck, dude? They took your best player and they filled their hole
and made you a hole
with your best player. And now you have a hole. Your hole is empty.
He filled his hole.
Nothing to fill your hole, Jed.
Couple old guys. They know how to do the job back there. I think they'll be okay. Jury's out. Let's see how the pitching does.
Look, anybody can fill a hole, Danny. But there's a lot more to do there if you really want the hole to enjoy being filled. Man, it took me a minute to figure that out on the fly.
Well, hopefully we enjoy how the hole was filled. Another hole got filled, and that was the Padres filled
You didn't do the drop. What are you doing?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Fucking you set it up. You said yourself, I'm gonna do the drop.
Jet set.
Another thing that Jed said was that you Darvish, you're traded. He said that to him one time. And now the Padres, who Jed traded him to, who he also used to work for, he extended signed an extension of 6 years, $108 million. Speaking of Cubs giveaways, let's move on to the next topic, which is Cubs giveaways, like you, Darvish. Yes. So, the Cubs announced what they're giving away, and it's quite the list. I don't know. I'm curious what everybody thinks about these. There's some that are kind of funny, some are ugly, some are good.
What's interesting, Danny, is that all the things you're about to say, might get you a few teenagers to come home with you. Just like you, Darvish. Gave away you, Darvish. Got nothing but teenagers. This is teenage level giveaway.
Well, I think some of these you have to be 21 and over because they're sponsored by liquor companies. But here's what we got. I'm putting up 6 of the giveaways right now. First of all, there's the fanny pack, which first of all, I don't know if the Cubs know what a fanny is. That's on May 28th, Sunday, May 28th against the Reds.
Don't take that to England.
Yeah, because fanny means something bad there, doesn't it?
It means vagina. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's well, not bad.
So I wouldn't say bad,
but it's dirty. Yeah, but it's a dirty way. But check this out.
I
This
wouldn't
fanny,
even say dirty.
this fanny pack. It's first of all, it's beige with a red C. So I'm like, no blue in it at all, except for that this mannequin is wearing that's wearing it is wearing a Wrigleyville jersey. But first of all, it says fanny pack, but he's wearing it across his breast. So if you ask me, it's more like a breast bag or a belly bag or a boob bag or something else. It's not a fanny pack anymore.
Right. I mean, is it because this dummy that they have to put the thing on has no
waist
ass
or ass? Yeah. Well, you could have gotten one. So, well, they didn't. Either way,
Danny's ass was there. All they had to do was just call him up. He had to come right down, put on the fanny pack.
My ass works free. So then, Megan Baker, John Baker's wife, commented on this picture on Twitter and said, that's how the kids wear them these days. And I'm like, what? I mean, this actually is how I wear my fanny pack, is across my chest too, but like, whatever. So then we have
I wear mine between my legs on my fanny.
Like as a diaper. So do you see that there are these bronze statues, which are the same as the statues out in front of Wrigley Field and Gallagher Way? You've got August 20th, they're giving away Santo. July 19th, they're giving away Banks. September 9th, they're giving away Harry Carey. But like, look at this Harry Carey. I mean, they just can't get Harry right. Look at that face.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's Mad Magazine. It's so disturbing. Demon Harry Carey, skinny. Look at him. He's got like an indented stomach. That's not the Harry I know. The Harry I know has a giant belly and he's sitting over his belt. And then not a giant belly, but he had some weight on him.
He's a big dude, yeah. And his head being that big on that skinny body just makes it even more noticeable.
Yeah, there's something wrong with the Harry Carey. They just can't get it right. The hologram, the bobblehead, they get it all wrong. And but I do like these. Like they got the Ferguson Jenkins and the Billy Williams, so they're doing all of them. I'm going to assume they're going to do a Sandberg because they're giving him a statue this year, but it was not listed.
Well, but they don't have. I mean, he's getting the statue this year, but don't they have to go through the whole process of like getting what it's going to be, like the mock-up, and then
they need to know what it's going to look like. And
yeah, so it's going to be a while. But the only problem I have with these is that they shouldn't have made them bobbleheads, because they look good until you get to the head, and then the head is way too big.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be to bobble, but because that doesn't fit the style of the whole rest of it, it just looks weird.
You're right. There was something wrong with it, and I think you just hit the nail on the head of what I don't like about it either, because it's like, I'll put the hairy one up there, even though it's disgusting, just because it really is the worst of all of them. But my problem with it is that they could have just made, because the statues are things of honor. Bobbleheads are goofy toys,
yeah.
And it would have been great if they would have made, like, I have the Harry statue up here. Let me pick it up. Let me get it. I'll show what the Harry.
Yeah, you want the proper recreation in miniature form to have on your mantle. You want all of those, but when you get the ones with the bobblehead, then it frightens children.
Yeah,
and that's not what you're going for.
No, it looks a little scary in the camera right now because Harry looks like
nobody can see it because you still got the picture up there.
Prince. brains.
But that one looks a lot better.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like the actual statue that's out in front of the bleachers, which in and of itself is slightly disturbing. But you see how he's got a little paunch, like he's not so skinny with the
Yep.
sunken chest.
The thing that I always thought was weird about his statue is, and I don't know if it's depicted on the toy thing that you
The
have there.
faces,
The faces, yes,
look at that.
because
Look at
I grew up in the 80s watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and a few different spots during that series, Freddy would rip open his shirt and there would be faces in his skin,
yeah, popping out, yeah.
popping out and screaming, and that's what that looks like. Right at his legs, it looks like the souls of the children that he murdered in order to have his career.
It's supposed to be the fans, but you're like, so on opening day, and this is a little disappointing, there are no magnets. Well, maybe they'll have magnets, but I don't think so, because they're giving away these pins, which they're only giving them away to the first 10,000 fans. And I'm like, oh my God, opening day, you can't get the 30. Not one of these promotions does more than 10,000, which is BS, man. The excuse used to be that there was no room for it. Well, guess what? You have a giant building that you just built for yourself. And I
Right.
think you could find a place for like 10,000 pins.
And these
10,000
pins are
more pins.
tiny.
Yeah.
These are not big things.
Yeah. So I can understand how, that back in the day when you didn't have that building, you couldn't do certain things, but you could have always done magnets and pins. So also, this is weird looking. Like, I know that because those the drapings, the bunting,
Yeah.
they look like Snuffleupagus eyes.
Oh, you're right. See, I was actually looking at it and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I dig it. And if I was an opening day guy and they had been doing this for a long time and you went and you just had a collection of your opening day pins, that'd be fun. This is a kind of a cool thing. But now that you bring that up, that is a Star Wars character. That is some sort of alien that,
Giving me Sesame Street.
yeah.
Looks a little cartoon to me, but it might not look like that in real life. It might be just the thing. Now in the bleachers, they give away.
Well, if anybody gets one of these, I will take it from him if you want to give it to me.
Well, they're worth a lot because only 10,000 are getting. Don't worry, it'll be 23 degrees that day. So, now these are the Budweiser bleacher hats, Bleacher Fridays. They're giving away cool kid hats. And I just don't. The first two are the right color. They're at least blue, and then they give you this like neon pea green, and then a like creamsicle orange, a rose pink, and then gray with different logos from 1934, 1977, 1914, 1979, 1994, 1997. But
And for all the podcast listeners who are like, man, I wish I could see those. You're not missing anything.
yeah, no.
All you have to do is think blue hat because the logo is the exact same color and you cannot see it.
Well, and thank God you can't see it because look at it. Because this is what this is the 1934 64 logo.
That says 64, but I don't
That's
think,
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is incorrect. In fact, because that's Monkey taking a shower, right?
That's Monkey taking a shower. We just talked about this last week.
And here well, actually, it's not on this one. But
of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's Monkey taking a shower. I believe that's like 19. So in other words, they got it wrong. So this is a misprint.
No, you know what? I think maybe it is 34. I think it's really hard to see in this picture.
Yeah, well, it's really hard to see the logo too because it just looks like a splotch of goo.
But that's good because the logo was the one that all three of us hated last week.
Yeah, so at least you can't see it. But yeah, no, it's all the same color as the hat. So it's, I don't know. I'm not a fan of these. I don't think that this is going to get people streaming in. I kind of like the first one on May 26th. That's the only one I would really care to get, but there's not as cool as the last one that was like pink and multicolored and
So the last one in this list here, is that white?
it's like gray, I guess.
Gray, like a really light gray. Okay.
That's stupid.
I
So
like
then-
I like the blues. I do like the blues, but I don't like how the logos are on them. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Mike Waller says, "Cool idea, bad execution." Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much par for the course. So then they got these special nights. You got to buy a special ticket. They're having
So
Pride
these
Night
aren't
again.
really giveaways, right, Danny?
No, you got to pay. Yeah, you're paying for this thing. And then you get a hat. Like Pride Night, they give you a rainbow hat. And then like now they've got Clark bobbleheads, which you could see. There's Clark as what's his name? Jesse the Body, I think. That's supposed to be him as on WWE night. They have Clark bobblehead as a mascot. They have
Oh,
Henry
I thought you were
Rowan
talking about
Gardner.
the NASCAR Clark, and I'm like, Jesse the Body. What are
No,
we
no,
talking about here?
down in the corner. I'm going all out of order. They got Henry Rowan Gardner, Marvel Superhero Night, which I don't know who that's supposed to be, and then they have Nico Horner
That's
as a
Loki. That's Loki.
oh yeah, but shouldn't it be a cub? Because look, and for Star Wars Night, it's Nico Horner dressed as Luke Skywalker.
Well, unfortunately, Loki wears a big helmet thing, so you'd have to look at the face and be able to tell who was wearing the helmet.
They never look like him anyway, so it doesn't matter. John Pickett says that's the Hulkster. So all right, it's Hulk Hogan then. So that's cool. But still, it's like Clark dresses Hulk Hogan. I mean, here's a close up of that one. Oh yeah, there it is, Clark Hogan. I didn't even see the picture. So he's standing in a little wrestling ring. That's pretty awesome. If you're a wrestling fan, you know you're gonna want to get that one. Then they also have now this is kind of funny. So here's the class of 23. They're giving away this blue jersey. It's like the powder blues. It looks like all silky, almost like a cap and gown material. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of clever. Cap and gown material. It says class of 23 on the back. And then, so they're giving this away on June 15th. But then on September 5th, they're giving this away the same exact shirt, class of 24. But what I want to point out is the abs on this mannequin. Look at this.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
it's just like this mannequin is just sporting a six pack. The class of 24, they're quite muscular.
They're ripped. Yeah.
So here's a few more.
Real quick, you go back like that Clark that was waving the NASCAR flag.
Yeah.
Is that like Ricky Bobby, the Will Ferrell movie, the Talladega Nights?
Nah, I think he's just normal NASCAR.
I'm getting a Ricky Bobby vibe off that guy.
Yeah. God, Clark is everywhere. At least he's wearing pants.
Oh, Roberto Ramos bringing up a great point. Should have had Captain Cubbo for Superhero Night. You are absolutely correct.
Let's make a Captain Cubbo bobblehead and
do
our own thing. So they're having historically black college night, which once again, why are you making us look like the Padres? August 29th, they're like, hey, let's have brown uniforms with green and I mean, I just two different colored sleeves. Like, what are we doing?
Oh yeah, they do, don't they? Like that is.
It's just
yeah. They're trying to do a lot of stuff with that jersey, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? And then I do like this one though, the Hispanic Heritage Night celebration, which I have last year's. It was gifted to me by Sarah Sanchez for my wedding present this year, and but it's a skeleton playing a guitar, little Cubs guitar. It says Los Cubs on it. I think I might need to get that. And I'm not really a guy that like goes and gets that kind of thing, but I'm getting that because it's freaking cool. I got the other one. Now I might collect those. And then Sesame Street Day, I don't care about it, but I know a lot of people love Elmo and stuff. That's not my era of Sesame Street. Like I had a black and white TV and it was just Kermit, you know what I mean? Miss Piggy and stuff, you know.
See, and they loved everybody loved Cookie Monster, right? When he showed up, whatever, 2019, 2021, whenever it was. Cookie Monster was amazing. They're trying to recreate that. And they're going to have Elmo out there. And what they're going to find out is nobody likes Elmo.
Everybody liked Elmo.
Children liked Elmo.
Tickle me. Yeah, but those children are now like 30 years old and they're thinking like, oh, I'm going to go out to the Budweiser.
30 years old and they found out like the guy
35. They got mortgages and kids
the
now.
Elmo was some sort of like, I don't know, creep.
They all had Tickle Me Elmo when I was like 20.
Yeah, but the guy that like stuck his hand up Elmo's butt and made him talk. I believe he was some sort of a creep or something. I don't know. But
Well, they're not going to get that guy.
Here's the thing. You don't grow out of Cookie Monster. You grow out of Elmo. Like at some point you're like, I don't like Elmo. I hide my Elmo. And Elmo was huge in the 90s. My kids loved Elmo in the 2000s, right? But you grow out of Elmo. Elmo is just kind of this like cute for kids.
Little kids, yeah.
Yeah, but when you get older, you're like, fuck you, Elmo. I'm going getting cookies with Cookie Monster.
Because Elmo did have an annoying voice. He's like, hey, baby. And you're like, yeah, you're like, gosh, shut up, Elmo. At least Cookie Monster had some cookies on him. Like, what did Elmo? Elmo was like a pickpocket, wasn't he? Like, he was always getting you into trouble, getting you arrested.
Elmo the pickpocket. I love it.
He was something like that. So Clint Nathan says, ha ha ha, fuck you, Elmo.
Oh yeah, the fuck you Elmo was really popular on the dark web.
Fuckle me, Elmo. So just a few more to get through here that I found ridiculous. Well, this one's not ridiculous. It's just like this is for a different generation. The Grateful Dead night. You get your pick of Clark Bear. A lot of Clark bobbleheads in this one.
He's the only Cubs related thing they know is still going to be there next year.
And at least this one, he's not wearing pants, which you'd expect at a Grateful Dead show. There's 5 different colors to choose from. Don't take the brown acid.
You know, I do this. This is actually kind of cool. I would normally just on paper, Grateful Dead, Chicago Cubs. I'd be like, nah, I'm not feeling it, but I kind of like this.
Are you a Dead fan? Driving that train.
I like Dead studio albums because those songs are about 4 minutes long. But I can't deal with the Dead live.
Not into the 45-minute version of Turn On Your Love Light.
No, I'm not like. I really like American Beauty and Working Man's Dead. Those two albums are wonderful. But,
well, the worst days are the hardest days.
Yeah, those are so much fun. But again, 3-4 minute songs. When you go to the show and you've fallen asleep, you've woken back up, and they're still playing the same song. But you don't know it for like 30 minutes, and you're like,
some chick with armpit parrot hairs dancing around you. Seriously. No, I lived this. I know what I'm talking about. This comes from experience. April 20th, 420.
David Lieb nailed it. Small doses of Dead.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You need to microdose your Dead whenever possible.
Our man Crawley was a Deadhead. He'd travel all around with him. And he still does, like with the Dead and Company, and he wants all the posters. He sent me down to Wrigley a bunch of times, like, you got to give me 7 posters of this neon shit. And I'm like, I'm not hanging out down there. Those people smell like patchouli. So, so on 420, they're doing Jackie Robinson celebration.
Oh my God.
And they're giving a 42. Now, doesn't it seem like I could just get like one of those, like a 0 from the, like a mailbox or something, like, you know, that you would put on a mailbox and you could put it on the Jackie Robinson hat and make a 420 hat out of your Jackie Robinson hat on 420. I'm just saying.
April 2nd is a day that exists in the world. You don't have to go to 420 for 42 because, yeah, that's way too on the nose, right, Dan?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, besides 420 is already something else. So now I want a 420 hat. But that'd be a little sacrilegious.
So the Cubs logo over on the side kind of has a circle. So you could sort of see that 420 on the side.
Now, once again, the ones I'm showing now, you have to buy a special ticket for. So this is not a free hat. This is a hat that you're buying with a ticket. And I'm not sure how much they cost, but I don't think they're for sale yet anyway.
And I'm glad, I really am glad that the MLB does this. They do the Jackie Robinson stuff.
They're playing the Dodgers. That's why Pink is pointed out.
Okay. I do wish if you listen to Black Diamond's podcast with Bob Kendrick, they talk about all the guys that broke the barriers for each one of their teams, in which Ernie Banks was ours. And those are the stories that also need to be out there. And so, like, I love the Jackie Robinson stuff, but it would be nice if we went a little bit further than that. And with the Cubs, they kind of have that ready made, a number 53 hat on May 3rd.
Now they're getting
perfect.
Now that's the day they're giving away the Hulk Hogan Clark. They can't do both. It's impossible. The schedule's already full.
The whitest man in the history of white men.
So, Michael, I know you're an Iowa fan. I know we got a lot of people that watch this show that are Big Ten fans, and all through August and September, they've got Big Ten nights. And so the August 1st, they're giving away Iowa Cubs hat. So it's black and yellow.
And I love that. So Corey Furlong gave me the last year's one. It's just the C and it's got the Hawkeye over on the side. This one actually has the 84 bear, which is cool. One of my favorite logos that they've ever done. And yeah, that hat is amazing. And I will say all of these with that bear just look great. I mean, the Michigan State Spartans, the green one. Green's my favorite color. I really like that one. The Notre Dame one, which is weird because that's not Big Ten, right?
I don't know.
Or is it just NCAA? But that's a Notre Dame hat, and Notre Dame is not in the Big Ten, but it's a blue hat with a green circle with the blue bear in it. I really like that.
Yeah.
Color combo there too.
Yeah, and they have all. I don't know if it's just Big Ten. I know there were a few more that I didn't put, but these all four were grouped together.
Eric Campbell says, "I need that Notre Dame one."
Yeah,
you know what? I'm not a Notre Dame fan, and I'm with you, Eric. I really like that one.
Yeah, they did a really good job with these, and once again, they're not free. You have to buy them, but get yourself the cheapest ticket of that kind, and they're usually $25-$30. I don't know. August, middle of the week, you might be able to get something. So. And somebody in the chat, David Leaf says, Cotton, we're all really loving your current cap.
Yep. So you know what? I'm loving this too. And I'm actually wearing I got my 69 jersey with the 69 bear going on it too. Yeah.
Yeah. 69 bear. And it's like olive green with burnt, like fluorescent red.
It's green. Orange. Yeah. It's a green hat with a red and like really dark blue bear, and then red under the cap, like flat bill, like
very sharp.
Yeah, got this for Christmas. This was like my one Cubs Christmas hat. I really dig it.
So, and then the last one I have here, and then I didn't really put these in too much of a specific order, but I know you're military or ex-military, and May 10th versus the St. Louis Cardinals, they're giving away pretty much one of the worst jerseys I've ever seen. Like, I don't understand this thing at all. It's Military Appreciation Day. You get yourself, I don't know if you got to be military to get this, but it's so weird. It's like, it's a button-down gray jersey, I guess. It's hard to tell on the mannequin. And then there's like a National League patch, then like the Wrigleyville patch, and then there's like an N next to it that makes it look like it says no. Are you seeing what I'm saying? And then you have the 1969/1984, and it's just like randomly put on the right side of the jersey, and then the other side of the jersey has a Cubs, like a regular Cubs logo, and on the back it says Cubs 23. Like, I don't like. Thank you for your service. Here's the ugliest jersey of all time.
So this makes me feel like they got these jerseys in and they were not what they wanted. Like, somebody fucked up the order. It came in all jacked up, and they're like, you know what we can do? Military Appreciation Night, because people eat that shit up. They will take anything we give them on Military Appreciation Night, because if they don't, they're fucking communists.
Well, no, even worse, they're making these guys pay to get this terrible jersey to get appreciated. So we'll clap for you in the fourth inning or whatever they do it, So, yeah. Anyway, so that's the giveaways. I mean, I'm not super impressed. I do think, I I knew there was something wrong with those. I think my favorite thing is kind of the bobbleheads of the statues. I think that's kind of my favorite of all of them. For the actual giveaways that they're doing. But you're right, they screwed it up. It should be a statue. Chris Salato says, currently waiting on my shortcake hat to be delivered. The hell's a shortcake hat?
I don't know, but you know what? I will tell you, Danny. When I went to the last weekend at Wrigley, I looked around in the left field bleachers and I saw so many hats. Like I see your hats all the time on the show, and I just thought, oh, that's Danny Rocket. Like he wears the wildest Cubs hats that he can find, whatever. But I was actually in, left field and everybody's wearing awesome hats, and they're not traditional sort of Cubs hats, or if they are, they have something to them. Like they look like a traditional Cubs hat, but then it's got like a pink flower or something because they got it on Mother's Day, things like that. Like there's so many cool hats out there that I actually, that one day literally changed my mind. I was like, cause I was always thinking, I just want blue Cubs hats. And now I have two different colors of green Cubs hats.
Hey, you know what can't make you look fat? Hats and shoes. So that's why everybody's into them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And bags too. That's fat hats, shoes, and bags. That's why that's big money. That's why there's where the fashion is. David Elliott and Eric Campbell are both reminding me that I have not even mentioned in this show. Hashtag chance in the chat. We are running the giveaway tonight. I just haven't mentioned yet. First of all, if you win tonight, you get a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. And you're also entered to win an end of the year chance prize from all the amongst all the other chance winners. So hashtag chance in the chat. Don't forget, we're going to take another quick commercial break. This one being for Patreon. If you're not a Patreon member, you should be. There's lots of perks at every single level of Patreon. It's how we keep the show on here at Son Ranto. It really is. Like, we really don't get paid any other way. It's totally listener supported. It keeps us independent.
And if you love what we're doing here, or even if you don't love it, even if you just kind of like it, you actually get to have this sort of commentary all week long.
Yeah, you get
every
to tell
day
us.
We're in that Discord and we're talking to each other and making jokes and putting up memes and talking shit to each other. It's a lot of fun. It's way better than anything you'll ever get on Facebook.
You can talk to us after tonight's show, because we'll go on there for about an hour and talk about the things we already been talking about, and then talk about what you guys want to talk about. And that all happens in Discord. You got to be a Patreon member to do it, and it's only $1. So here's a commercial for it, and we'll be right back. All over Chicagoland, there are thirsty, frazzled, overworked Cubs podcasters who are struggling to survive one more baseball season in the dog-eat-dog world of unpaid content creation. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make a difference. Become a super ranter at patreon.com/sonranto, where your support ensures that poor, sad, pathetic, ugly, loser Cubs podcasters can pay for tickets and beer, and in turn line the pockets of the baseball oligarch Ricketts family. Just $1 a month can buy a scorecard. $5 a month can pay for guitar strings to write a Cubs song. And $10 a month almost buys one beer at Wrigley Field. Cubs content creators are the lowest pieces of pond scum garbage that slither over the face of this planet. But super ranters help them get drunk and screw off at baseball games. What do you get out of it? The Son Ranto Show delivered to your podcatcher without stupid advertisements like the one you're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, at other Super Ranter levels, you can get Cubs music, access to private Son Ranto pages, the Ranter calendar, and special thanks and Ranter recognition in our live broadcasts. Plus, eligibility for monthly prizes. What does Son Ranto get out of it? Your money. For tickets and beer. Go to patreon.com/sonranto. That's patreon.com/sonranto. And become a super ranter today. Welcome back.
I was so tempted to cut that commercial early just because you wouldn't have been in your seat.
Yeah, I timed it perfect. I was thirsty. I got real thirsty at a point. Yeah, I've had a weird week. They pulled my wisdom tooth on the top over here.
Just one of them?
Well, yeah, because he wanted to do the other one. I mean, I had these already. Either way, I have the. Now, I got to ask you a question and comment in the chat. I was wondering because I almost brought the tooth because I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, can I have that tooth? He's like, oh, you've been with you for a long time. I'm like, exactly. Give me that tooth. So he gives me the tooth. And I was like, what if I brought it on the show and we used it as like an oracle? Because that tooth was at the 2016 World Series. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So and it was at Game 7. So
you should really get it mounted.
The tooth of wisdom, you get a little C in there, and we could use it as an oracle. But I'm wondering if people are going to be grossed out about my tooth. Like, I'll clean it up a little bit. It has blood on it now. That's why I didn't bring it on the show because it wasn't clean. But people got weird thing about teeth.
No,
my wife won't look at it. I'm like, want to see my tooth? She's like, no, I don't.
I will say there are people out there who still have all of their children's baby teeth. And to those people, I say, stop, please. It's creepy.
Clint says, got to put it on a chain. That's what the doctor said. So maybe I should do that. Yeah, it did hurt. Tom says it painful. Yes, it was. It's all good. Bring the tooth. Yeah, I think we need the oracle. Like, I don't know if it floats, that it's that we win the series. Like, we see if the tooth is right, like that kind of thing. I did. David said Danny's wisdom tooth will be the March Patreon giveaway. I did consider that. I'm like, I would add it to the chance. Like, add it to the chance prize, and at the end of the year, somebody's gonna win. That's one of the things you win is the wisdom, the Cubs tooth of wisdom, plus the I found the thing I was gonna give away. By the way, this is for all the chance winners. This is the January prize that got added. Greg Maddox. Baseball cards. It's going to build up all year. On top of it, Harry Carey patch. March, I'm adding the tooth. No,
nice.
We'll think of something. But so we thought it'd be fun to the Athletic put out some bullshit article because nothing's going on in baseball really right now, except for just dudes stretching. Hitting dogs off of bullpen coaches.
Despite the fact that we go 2 hours every week about only one MLB team, and it just doesn't slow us down one bit, whether there's any news or anything to talk about.
No, we didn't miss a beat. That's why you got to pick up a Patreon member. I'll cut out the commercials for you. Give you in podcast form.
But everyone else is just busting their ass trying to figure out some sort of content. And Jim Bowden? Jim Bowden's proposed realignment. And let me start with this, ranters. You've all been with me for a while, and if you haven't, you're just getting on here. Ask your friends. Look, I was saying this shit years ago. When we were talking about the DH and the universal DH coming to this fucking league, I was like, hey, that's where it starts. And then they get rid of the leagues. Pretty soon, it's not going to matter what league is what because there's no different rules. There's nothing different. Everything could become one thing. And then it's the fucking NFL with the AFC, the NFC. It's the NBA with the East and West. And 1 year into this fucking universal DH bullshit. Jim Bowden's proposed realignment.
Yeah, but this isn't gonna. Jim Bowden's got no say in shit. This is. I realized this when I was making my list and what I wanted to happen. I was taking it really seriously, and then I realized, wait,
you really did. When I saw your list, I was like, man, he went into which games people were playing, everything.
Yeah, I did because it made me think about a lot of stuff. But I'm saying I was taking it really seriously, and then I had to slow my own roll because none of this mattered. Jim Bowden sat down and did this. He's like, yeah, this could be if they have some new teams, and then they just have 4 in each division, and and I understand that. And then we both did it, and then we realized that it's fun to do. It's fun to take all the teams and figure out how it works. So
it really is.
So I actually think we should continue this conversation in the Discord afterwards. I would love for people to show up with your realignment ideas. I think we should keep this topic going.
Well, real quick, I'm going to explain to the podcast listeners. So I've got a graphic up here, Jim Bowden's realignment, and he's got 4 divisions of 4 teams. 4 5
Wait. 4 teams, 4 divisions of 4 teams. He's only got 16 teams.
I'm seeing double now, I guess. But yeah, but he's got the Midwest division, the Cubs, the White Sox, the Brewers, and the Twins. The Southwest division, Astros, Royals, Cardinals, Rangers. Pacific Coast, Rockies, Athletics, Mariners, Giants. West, Diamondbacks, Angels, Dodgers, Padres. And then, now first off, before we even move, as I read those, you should have been going, wait, what the Southwest, Pacific?
Cubs,
none of those fucking terms make any sense with these teams.
So Cubs have no Cardinals, but they do have the White Sox. So you'd have this crosstown thing, and they take the Giants, Dodgers away. Like, Jim, do you even watch baseball? Like, do you know what we like? Jesus.
And then he goes to the East, and he's got the East, Red Sox, Mets, Yankees, Phillies, North, Reds, Guardians, Tigers, Blue Jays.
The Reds are not in the North. Okay. The Reds are actually like down by freaking Kentucky. They
used to be the furthest south team in the entire league, which is why they always had opening day.
Do you remember when they used to be also in the NL West?
Yeah.
along with the Braves.
Yeah, the Braves and the Reds. So then they have the Mid-Atlantic, Orioles, Pirates, Nationals, and Charlotte. That is a team that doesn't exist. It is an expansion team that Jim Bowden thinks should happen. Yep. And then in the Southeast, you have the Braves, the Marlins, Nashville, another expansion, and the Rays. Now, okay, what the fuck is he? Every goddamn team is on the East Coast. If anybody gets new teams, not out there. Like, why would you put fucking teams where they have to then take fans away from teams that are close to them? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like Nashville and like Cincinnati. Like, people from that area go to vacation in Tennessee.
Nashville is a huge Cardinal area. They have the AAA Cardinal team is in Nashville, I believe. The Redbirds, I think, is the Tennessee Redbirds. But that's Cardinals territory. Those people like the Cardinals. Or, like you say, if they don't like the Cardinals, they probably like Cincinnati because they're right there as well.
Yeah.
Or the other direction, Atlanta is not far from there. Charlotte, you have the Nationals, you got the Orioles, you got Atlanta, even the Florida teams right there. Like,
well, not with my realignment. Can I give mine first and then yours second?
I absolutely want to see your realignment, Danny, because I did actually look at it a little bit earlier and I did like it. So,
all right. So I'm not, everybody's talking expansion. And I am going to talk expansion. There's going to be teams in different cities, but we're going to contract this damn league because if you look at the attendances around the league, there needs to be some contraction, just like there needs to be less Cubs podcasts. And so we need to have all the Cubs podcasts come on this show. Need contraction.
They all need to quit and just tell everybody to come listen to us.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're looking for. So here's my proposal. I made a really nice graphic for it. Like, this is as good as I can do, people. Sorry. So, all right.
It is very pretty, Danny.
It's very colorful. It looks like the Partridge Family.
You get an A in kindergarten art.
I know. That's pretty much what I peaked. I really was like, this is as good as I'm getting at this. It's in kindergarten, I realized. So here's what we got. We're back to 4 divisions. Okay. 4 divisions of 7 teams. And in these 4 divisions, and I'll explain this. Let me give you my 4 divisions first, because that's the fun part of this. And I'll tell you how I think the season should work in the playoffs.
Yeah, because we're going to need a goddamn abacus to get through your season and your playoffs and all that shit.
I really sat down with my abacus this afternoon. And So AL East. Okay, you got your Yankees, your Red Sox, your Toronto Blue Jays. Then you're gonna get the Washington Orioles. And now what that is a combined team of the Washington Nationals and the Baltimore Orioles. They are like 45 minutes away from each other. I understand that we've got that kind of thing on the East Coast or in Chicago, like, you know, with two teams. I don't think DC is that city because DC is a transitory city where people are from somewhere else. They have more people in their stadiums when like the Mets are in town or the Phillies are in town, and those are teams close by. So
I actually like this idea, Danny, and there is precedence for it because the Homestead Grays were actually from Pittsburgh, but they played a ton of their games in DC.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've heard of this. And so the Washington Orioles, they play 41 games at Memorial Stadium and they play 41 games at Nat Stadium, and they can get both things going on. Like, that's fine. You built them stadiums, but you don't have the fan base. You don't have the fan base. So just suck it up and be the Washington Orioles. Then you Cleveland Spiders, because I finally changed your name to what it should have been.
Exactly.
Then this still AL East. Detroit Tigers, they're in the East now. And then you have the Florida Man. And that is, or I should say, the Florida Man. And it's like, that is also a split team. That is the Rays and Marlins getting together because you also can't support a team. So now you have one team and you play half your games at Tropicana Field. And you play half your other games in Miami. I don't really care what you do with your stadiums. They were paid for by your taxpayers anyway. Let them decide what to do with them.
Yeah, so put homeless people in there and let them.
Yeah, exactly. You got homeless people running everywhere. Build
sleep someplace.
Let them sleep in the stadium. AL Central / West. You got your Mariners, your Angels, your Royals, your White Sox. Now you remember the White Sox used to be in the AL West when it used to be 4 divisions before. So they're back there. But if you notice, they're playing a lot of teams that are quite close by. Because also in this team, not only did I say the Royals, but you also in this AL West, AL Central West, you've got the Twins, the Brewers, and the Astros. That's like right all up and down that kind of.
Well, except for the Mariners. I mean, the Mariners to the Astros, that's like a 3-day trip.
Yeah, well,
in a plane.
You do have to travel further in this situation just a little bit, but it's only for those two teams. There's the Astros, I guess, are far flung, but there's a lot of teams like more in that like Central West. I mean, what are you going to do? There's not that many teams out West, so that you're just going to have to get it.
I'm with you. I'm not arguing. I'm with you on this. I still like it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not perfect. NL Central / East, you got your Cubs, your Mets, your Braves, your Reds, your Pirates, your Phillies, and your Cardinals. Okay. So that's like kind of like pretty powerhousey division, I would say.
Yeah, that's like the entire, I don't know. That's the most historical division you could have come up with, I think.
Yeah. You're bringing back your Cubs Mets rivalry. And that's what that's why I put those first teams first. I don't really care about the Brewers rivalry. It's stupid. Let the White Sox have that. Let the White Sox have the rivalry with the Brewers. Let them call it.
The Brewers would finally be happy that Chicago doesn't fill their stadium every time they come there.
Exactly. Guaranteed rate north, they'll call it. I don't know. So then the NL West is your Los Angeles Dodgers, San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres, the Las Vegas Aces. So you move in Oakland. Oakland becomes Las Vegas.
I like that, but I would have I would still call them the A's, but their logo would be an ace and it would just have an A on it.
Okay. Then you got your Arizona Diamondbacks, the Colorado Rockies, which I almost moved to the AL West. I almost did that, but I decided to not. And then a new team called the Portland Poo-Poos, which I was like, because you just get a little poop emoji, on your hat,
So
Like between the Florida Man and I want to see a Florida Man Portland Poo-Poo's World Series is what I want to see.
So David Lieb in the chat says, "Did we contract the Rangers?"
Yes.
And Clinton Nathan immediately, "Nah, they're the Portland Poo-Poos."
Yeah.
Just moved them.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Texas is now the Portland Poo-Poos, and I'll tell you why. Because Texas, you've been around for a long time. You were the Senators. You became the Texas Rangers. You haven't done shit. You never do anything. You sign these kind of weird players that are supposed to make you good. You're never good. George Bush on your team. Then you built a stadium that looked like a Home Depot. So Texas Globe Life Field should just become a Home Depot. So that's what happens in my scenario here. So this is how this works. We have 162 games, 2 3-game series, home and away within the division, and one of those games is a doubleheader, like on a Saturday. Let's play to it, or a Sunday actually maybe would be good, because all Mondays are off in me and Michael Cotton's world of real baseball.
Fucking love that, man.
And then one 3
should
game
hire us.
1 3-game, and that's a total of 78 games, which is 2 3-game series against everybody else, all the other 6 teams in your division. You have 1 3-game series home and away, 42 total games against the NL West. So you do one of those West Coast road trips twice a year, and you go out there and you play them, and then once a year, and then they come and they play you. That's a total of 42 games. Most of your games stay within your division. Then you have one interdivision series against the opposite league. So like one year, like the Cubs would play the AL Central West, and the other year the Cubs would play the AL East.
So every other year,
You'd
you're
switch
getting the other league.
Yeah. And you just play one home, one away, and that's I didn't write it down, but that's the rest of the games. So then you have the Orioles Nationals merging, the Rays Marlins merging. Oakland becomes the Las Vegas Aces. Texas is the Portland Poo-Poos. Now here is how the playoffs work. Top 3.
Oh, hold on. We need to just take a moment to just understand the rabbit hole, the absolute depth of which you went into this. Good God, man.
Can I tell you, I was working at the same time and I was doing this, and I was just like, I couldn't like think of a rhyme for a song, and I was like, let me come on over
Somebody
here.
got a shitty parody song
Because of this, yeah.
Of something today, because Danny had to fucking figure out what the playoffs are going to look like.
Yeah, in this league, that's never going to happen. Yeah. So tell me how you like it in the chat, people just like the Portland Poo-Poos. That's pretty much what it comes down to. All right, so here's how it works. Well, top 3 teams from each league make the playoffs. Top 3 teams. Let's say like in this list here, the Yankees, Red Sox, and Blue Jays would make it. The 4 teams on the bottom would go home.
So 12 out of the 28.
12 teams make it. The top. If you win your division, you get a bye. That is the first thing that happens. Okay. So then there's a wild card series, and what it is, it's a 4-team double elimination round robin bracket, which could be up to 7 games. You play one in the NL, one in the AL. And so in this scenario, it would be like the Red Sox and the Blue Jays and the Angels and the Royals, when the Yankees and the Mariners would have been the winners. Like if you're looking at my graphic, like the top team is the number 1 team,
Yeah.
So, and the Mets and the Braves and the Giants and Padres would also play in this scenario. 4-team, that could be as many as 7 games, double elimination. Run differential matters as far as like tie breaking goes. Like you need to be able to score more than the other team, but then 2 teams get eliminated from contention at this point. So the bottom 2 teams go home. So now you're stuck with, now you got 4 teams in each division series. It's seeded by regular season record. Let's make the regular season keep counting this whole time, which I think it does throughout the playoffs many times. So then the best and the worst the best would play the worst, and the middle would play each other in this scenario. And then and that's how you would seed it through the run differentials and things like that. 2 5-game series in each league. Then the championship series, the top 2 NL AL teams, 7-game series in the championship series, exactly like it is right now. And then I would take the World Series and I would make it a 9-game series.
9 games. See, so I like this idea, Danny, because I think we're gonna get Thanksgiving Day baseball.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm good with it. Well, I mean, see, the round robin bracket you could play in a weekend. You know what I mean? You could be done with that
2
wild
weeks,
card
it
series.
feels like. I don't know.
No, I think you could be done. It could be a total, maybe 5 days you could get it done.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. So, then let's see, and that's it. 9 games, and then 2 home and 1 away series in the World Series, all 3-game series, and then the best team, the highest seed, gets that 2 home series.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like people may think that the whole 9-game World Series is crazy, but
That's how it used to be.
It happened a few different years in the right around the turn of the century. Not this century, this century before.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my way too complicated realignment. But I want to hear yours in the chat afterwards, and I want to hear yours right now, Michael.
Okay, so I really liked what you did there, Danny. I didn't go in depth into like how the season's going to play out. That was a little deep for me, but I did create 2 versions. I have my own contraction league because I like that idea. Fucking let's contract this bullshit. And here it is. We have the Imperial League versus the Colonial Conference, right? We got the colonists over on the east side. We got the imperialists on the west side. My West Coast division, Seattle, Oakland / Las Vegas. I would actually like them to stay in Oakland, but I think they may go to Las Vegas, and so I wanted to point that out. San Francisco, Los Angeles, Anaheim, San Diego, Arizona. Now you'll see there's AL and NL teams in there because that shit just doesn't matter anymore. We're giving up on it. Then I go to the Great Plains division: Minnesota, Milwaukee, White Sox, Kansas City, Colorado, Texas, and Houston. Okay. And if you were to look at a map right now, you would see that these are vertical lines very close together. Now we're getting into the Eastern, the Colonial Conference, Great Lakes division: Toronto, Detroit, Cleveland, Cubs, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and Cincinnati. So basically the entire Central stays in this.
What's the Great Lake?
Brewers.
What's the Great Lake that's in St. Louis? Lake of the Ozarks?
Yeah, St. Louis and Cincinnati are the only ones that really are kind of the outliers, but there's nowhere else to put them.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you got to fill this out. And I didn't want to break up my Cubs St. Louis thing. So, but then you go to the East Coast, you got Boston, Yankees, Mets, Orioles, Nationals, Atlanta, and Philadelphia. Okay. So if you're wondering, if you haven't figured it out already, there are no Florida teams. Fucking Miami and Tampa. That's my contraction. Those teams don't deserve, Florida doesn't deserve to have a state, much less baseball teams. So, if they can't support their teams, go away. And I saw John Pincus say something earlier about Pittsburgh and I think Cincinnati.
I'll find
about
it.
The fact that they didn't have fans. They've got more fans than Miami and Tampa. Like, those are barren bullshit places. It's ridiculous. I hate it. And until they can prove that they can keep a team, they don't deserve any of them. So in this division, the wild card, again, move the Rays to Montreal and Marlins to Portland.
Portland.
Okay.
If you're
going to keep that same number, then yes, I would agree with you, Eric Campbell. But wild card games in division, second and third plays a first place team in 5-game series. Okay, what that actually means, because I wrote that wrong. So first place all gets into the playoffs. The second and third place team in each division play a 1-game wild card. So you're going to have 4 wild card games for the opportunity to play the first place team in your division
in a 5-game. Okay.
In a 5-game series.
Gotcha.
And then it's a 7-game conference series and then a 7-game World Series. So that's my 28 team setup. But if I'm going to 32 teams, fuck that dude and his whole let's put more teams on the East Coast. That doesn't make any sense. I got the West Coast, all the same teams I just said: Seattle, Oakland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Anaheim, San Diego, Arizona. But I'm adding Portland. I think Portland needs a team. If you've never seen what?
The
Portland Poo-Poos. Yes. If you've never seen, by the way, if you've never seen the Battered Bastards of Baseball, it's about a minor league Portland team. Watch that. It's amazing. My Great Plains division is Minnesota, Milwaukee, White Sox, Kansas City, Colorado, Texas, and Houston. That's all the same, but I'm adding Oklahoma City. Now, I don't know what a name for Oklahoma's team is, but the way that they've rallied around the Oklahoma Thunder in the NBA, I think that Oklahoma would be a great spot to put a major league team.
Well, you'd call them the Lightning. Then you'd have the Lightning and the Thunder.
Oh, that would see. I'm with you there. That would be good. If you guys have ideas in the chat, let us know. Oh, John Pika says the Supersonics, which would be fucking hilarious because that's where their NBA team came from. Oh, and then, I got the Great Lakes. Look, it's Toronto, Detroit, Cleveland, Cubs, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Philadelphia. That was basically the same, except for Philadelphia is in this one. And then the East Coast is Boston, Yankees, Mets, Orioles, Nationals, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Miami. I did have to make minor tweaks to those divisions so that I could fit Tampa Bay and Miami back in there. But it was basically only
I think that it's interesting that we both prefer the 4 divisions versus 6 divisions where everybody else is turning it to 8 divisions. And we were like, no, actually half of that. Like, I almost think about, like, since it doesn't matter anymore, let's just have American and National League, or just seed the whole damn thing. Seed the whole MLB. First place, second place, 30th place, like.
And to be entirely clear, I hate this idea of there not really being any difference between the leagues. Everybody knows that. But if we're going to play this game, let's play it with those rules.
Yeah.
My playoffs, the 3rd and 4th place team would play for the opportunity to play the 2nd place team in a 5-game series. The 5th and 6th place team would play 1 game for an opportunity to play the 1st place team in a 5-game series.
Okay.
So that's all in division. So if you're looking at this right now, if Seattle and Portland were number 1 and number 2, Oakland would play San Francisco for the opportunity to play Portland, and Los Angeles and Anaheim would play 1 game for the opportunity to play Seattle.
Okay.
And we would do that across all 4 divisions. And then you would have a 5-game series for the division, and that's in division. So division would actually make sense. And then the division winners would play a 7-game conference series and then a 7-game World Series.
World Series. That's it. Well, it is fun to put together. I'll say that much.
Yeah. And everybody needs to go over to the Discord after this and tell us what your ideas are. What do you want to name Oklahoma? What do you want to name Las Vegas? What do you want to name Portland?
Portland's named.
Portland Poo-Poos.
The Portland Poo-Poos, yeah.
Okay. Are you ready to You
Yeah,
ready to
let's-
squeeze this one off.
Yeah, let's squeeze it off. Well, first of all, I want to wish a happy birthday. We're playing a little happy. Tuesday, I believe, is Jarrett Gable, the bass player for the Bleacher Bum Band. It's his birthday. And then we have Richie OG. His birthday is on Valentine's Day, actually. And we also have Michael Mock out in San Diego, California. Old friend of mine. I've caught a couple games with Michael. And happy birthday, you guys. And also, we decided we're going to do Cubs birthdays this week, too. Who do we got, Michael?
Yeah, so I had to put this in there. On the 5th was Mark Zagunis's birthday. If everybody doesn't remember Mark Zagunis, is because he only played 42 total games.
I remember the Big Zagu, we called him.
The Big Zagu. He played 3 years, 42 total games.
Yeah.
Then on the 6th was Travis Wood's birthday. You'll remember that Travis Wood hit 11 career home runs. Another pitcher that hit well was born on that day as well. Babe Ruth.
Oh,
very similar.
Babe Ruth also stood on Murphy's with no shirt at some point.
Yes, he did.
In a vest.
Zach Davies was born on the 7th. You'll remember Zach Davies because he pitched 2/3 of a no-hitter versus the Dodgers that immediately tanked the Cubs season.
Yeah.
They went on an 11-game losing streak directly.
Yeah. I wish you were still a Brewer.
Felix P.A. Remember Felix P.A.
Hey,
born on the 8th?
Twisted his nuts.
Yeah.
He did. How could you forget Felix?
He played 2 years as a Cub. 07, 08 happened to be back-to-back division champs.
Can't win without
that
Felix.
Had happened since the 40s. I think Felix P.A. was a good luck charm. We should have never gotten rid of him. Dansby Swanson, birthday on the 11th. You may remember Dansby as the 4th best free agent shortstop this offseason. And then
the song started over. We've been going so long.
Brian Matzes, born on the 11th. Best game I ever saw in person.
Matus.
What?
Isn't it Matus?
Matus? Matus?
I don't know.
He gave up 6 runs in 3 innings. It was also his only game as a Cub. That was the one that I was actually at when
John
they
Lester
came
punt.
back and won. Yep,
John
Lester
Lester
with the
punt.
punt.
Hayward scored.
Jason Hayward sacrifice coming in. It was beautiful.
So happy birthday, everybody. Hope you have a good one. So hashtag chance in the chat, and you could win a chance at a postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. Opening day, Bleacher Bum Band is officially going to be at Output Lounge. If you're going to that game, definitely come afterwards, hang out with us at Output Lounge. It's going to be a wild, raucous time. We all know how opening day can be at Wrigley Field. It can be cold.
Even when it's freezing cold, yes.
Yeah, it won't be cold where we are. It will be inside sweat. So let's TFC and get the hell out of here and over on Discord.
All right. Well, I have this from Reddit, which Son Ranto has a Reddit. You should be over there. This guy in the Cubs Reddit page says, I believe Cody Bellinger will have a legitimate comeback season. I'm not saying MVP numbers, but numbers from his 2018 season. Decent batting average, same thing for OPS and his home run totals. I'm looking at 20 to 30 home runs easily. Probably around 28 or 29. You add on his great defense, he instantly becomes one of the most valuable players in the league, but not an MVP because he won't be hitting 50 homers unless I'm wrong. if he's wrong, he hits over 50. This is where this dude is at. I just think this signing is the most underrated signing in all of Major League Baseball, and that the Dodgers will be sorry. The Cubs will make the playoffs if Cody Bellinger has a good season. This is blowing my mind already. All of this insanity. And then Battle Sheep responds, and I believe that Scarlett Johansson will finally respond to those DMs I've been sending her about a threesome with my wife, which I thought was funny. But then Zebra Head says, I'm down if she isn't.
See, this is why I don't go on Reddit. You know, like this is the kind of garbage that
I love it. Fucking dude's like talking shit like, yeah, Scarlett Johansson's not going to sleep with me and my wife. And Zebra's like, I will.
Well, you'll be happy to know. Well, first of all, I got a real quick one, and then I'll do my other one. You just have the one, right?
Yeah, that was it.
So I'll just do two in a row. First of all, I had a pretty funny one. I'd like to put these pictures side by side, but I can't. I want to know, who do you think wore it better? Juliana Zobrist in San Francisco. So let me describe her outfit. She basically has a highlighter colored print on. It's like kind of like a bodysuit, if you will, and it's similarly colored, if not the same colored coat with like looks like giant orchids on it.
Is it a coat or is that a cape?
It's like, yeah, it's pretty capish. It's a capey coat, that's for sure. But either way, she's in the middle of the street in Chinatown in San Francisco.
That was the thing that got me, is she's literally in the middle of the street.
In the middle of the street, like, is he gonna get nailed by a rice roti truck?
Interestingly, though, she has a Cubs fanny pack over her shoulder.
Yeah, that's right. They do make them neon green now, because that's what the kids like. That's what Gen Z is into. So, but I want to know, who wore it better, Juliana Zobrist or this guy?
Or that guy down at your local car wash.
The guy, the car wash, the neon man with the, yeah, because it pretty much just reminded me of that same person.
For the podcast listeners, it's that big blow up air tube guy that flaps and flips and does all this
flails
shit
around,
car wash.
Same colors, same color scheme.
It really is.
So, once Juliana runs out of that divorce money, she's got her job down at the gas station, just flailing all around in the middle of the street. She's already in the middle of the street, just like that guy.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. She's in the middle of the fucking street, and it's not like the street's blocked off. There are cars in the picture.
San Francisco banned cars. I think you got to bike up those hills now. So you have like unhoused people push you up. So all right. So then I've got one more, and then this is actually from Reddit too, but it was somebody screenshotted the Reddit and put it on Twitter. This also is kind of sex related. Any really. No, it's not sex related, but it kind of seems like it could be. Any men in the Houston area, preferably Northwest, up for meeting up once a week to just play catch or hit baseballs? Says, I know the usual answer is to just join a league, but with two boys currently doing spring ball soon and a weird schedule, I'm finding myself wanting to just find a buddy or two to meet at a park and occasionally and just throw the ball around or work on batting. I'm single, married. Single, married doesn't matter. This is not a decoy. Just looking for another dude or dudes who enjoy baseball. It would be down with keeping our skills up.
You're right. You're right. Nothing about this is sexual at all. I'm sorry.
Say like this is not a decoy, which I'm like, this is total decoy, right? Like, so with this guy, like, don't you have just like a friend like from down the block or something? Like, you got a neighbor that maybe you can see?
No, you know what? I feel for this guy. I'm with him all the way. It's hard to find.
Go on Grindr. You'll find somebody
together.
So, no, and this is actually, I would love to have like Ranter Day where we all get together and do exactly this, by the way. So, I know I'm being silly, but he says I might end up assistant coaching my son's team and need to get my arm working again after an injury. Any help or advice would be appreciated. So now he's asking for injury advice. You know what I mean? He's like, hey, could you give me a rub down? Like, would you mind taking a look at here? I'm going to take my shirt off and let me show you. What do you think of my arm here? Like, does it look bruised to you?
Keep going.
Yeah.
I think we're getting more. I like where he's going.
And of course, wives or girlfriends are totally invited to.
This is not a gay thing. This is more of a bi thing.
Yeah,
we're all open to everybody.
He says, just want to play some ball. And then Badman Ferrara writes back. He says, no. But if you'd like to drink alone in a garage while silently watching YouTube clips from TV shows that ended 10 to 15 years ago, HMU. Hit me up.
If you want to do something that you didn't talk about at all, I'm going to put myself out there.
Yeah.
I'm in my garage. Come hang out.
I don't know who's seeing this right now, but if you wouldn't mind picking up a 6-pack, we can watch some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reruns on YouTube and just chill, dude. So, ooh, baby, it's a wild world.
I love it, but you know what? I'm with that guy. I started like a pickup baseball league here in Iowa City last summer. It's hard to find these people around because we're old and people just don't think they could do it. Everybody out there, ranters, everyone listening. If that's what you want to go, fucking start a pickup league. And Danny, you and I need to talk about this. We are going to get something like this going.
I'll be the
John
manager.
Baker Day sort of celebration, late June, sometime July, and we'll play some 16-inch, ball in a park there near your place.
Yeah, we'll play innings until we don't feel like doing it anymore, and then half the team will give up, and we'll make different teams, or like just pick up. Yeah, just pick up ball. So let's give away a postcard and a chance to win better crap. So hashtag chance in the chat. Get it going. This is your last chance to get your chance in. You ready?
At this point, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I know. It's just, the suspense was killing everybody. Longest show ever. Jesus Christ.
Where's that?
Eric Campbell, winner.
This is what happens when IFG's not here to rein us in, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Just keep the show moving, people. So congratulations, Eric Campbell. You are the chance winner. Expect a postcard in the mail from me with a message of hope and doom. So we're going to end it there, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Leave us a review somewhere.
We're only going to slightly end it.
Yeah.
Because this will continue on into the Discord for people who pay for the opportunity to make fun of us for going this long.
Yeah.
In an off-season podcast.
Yeah. Well, this is where we can really open up with each other. So, last week, I tried to play the Ballad of Billy Cub, and it didn't work. So I played something else, but it was a little mistake. So I have it this week. So it works now.
I remember that. Yeah, you had to bail to a different song last week.
Yeah, exactly. It was all fucked up. So here it comes. Please hit our Venmos and our PayPals. I will give the money to Miguel. I will give it to Michael. I give it to Infield Fly Girl, and it will help out the show. So or join us on Patreon. And thanks everybody. See you over on Discord. I'm just gonna pee and get a drink, and then we'll see you. See you over there. Spagog. On the corner of Clark and Addison, I saw a bear-costumed man, a cooler in his paw. I asked him his name and he took off his claw and said, "My name is Billy the Cub." I noticed a tear in his googly bear eyes. I asked what's the matter, he let out a sigh. The Cubbies' new mascot is some other guy, not me, Billy the Cub. They called him Claw and named him Clark. After all that I've done, the Cubs do this to me. Take pictures with fans for a nominal fee. Have to take off the bear suit when I gotta pee. Everyone loves Billy the Cub. Now hold on there, Billy, you're not in their plan. You hired that drunk guy who swore at a fan. Named yourself after a goat and a weapon. That's how it goes, Billy the Cub. They called him Clark. They called him Clark. They named him Clark. They named him Clark. They jumped the shark. The Cubs jumped the shark. Left you in the dark. Called him Clark. Our singing attracted unusual stares, and I don't usually hang out with guys dressed like bears, so I gave him a hug just to show that I care. Said, I'm sorry, Billy the Cub. I gave him $1, bid him adieu. He said, I'm a bear, not a cub. I know what to do. I'll take my act down to the Lincoln Park Zoo. Or my name's not Billy the Cub. Or my